Hi, I'm Cassandra Della Cruz-Munoz, and I'll be talking about electronic voting challenges and implementations. So first, we'll talk about challenges. So there's three main challenges covered here. The first is the voters' trust in their vote. The second is the independence of votes from voters. And the third is the ability for manual verification of election results. So, with the voters' trust in their vote, voters have to be able to verify that their votes will count how they meant it to. And so, there's various ways of doing that. There is filling in bubbles on an optical scanned ballot. There is direct recording machines printing out a receipt that shows the result of a ballot cast. Or there's ballot recording machines which print out a completed ballot. Voters need to be able to look at their ballot and determine that it was filled out correctly. The independence of votes from voters. So voters should not be linked to the voter. They should be their own independent objects that are anonymous. And a voter should not be able to prove how they voted or have others prove it on their behalf, as that opens the door to vote buying and more voter intimidation. Ability for manual verification. The ability for election officials to verify election results by hand instead of using the voting machines is necessary in case of machine tampering. But not every voting machine sticks to this principle because there's places that use direct voting machines that don't print out a paper record of each vote cast. And some ballot marking devices print out barcodes instead of human readable markings. Next, we're going to talk about implementations. So in Brazil, we're first going to talk about Brazil. They use direct entry machines across the country, and those machines do not create a voter verified paper audit trail. So the voters cannot check that their votes were correct, and the votes cannot be tallied up by hand by election officials. Additionally, the voting machines were found to have issues in security audits, with there being vulnerabilities that allow swapping votes or changing text on ballots to mislead voters. Now, in the US, things get more complicated. Because of the decentralized nature of the election system here, there's many different kinds of machines used throughout the country. So the following slide shows a map of the different kinds in use in this past election. And the map's green to red color coding is based on the relative safety of the method according to the map's creators. So let's go through this map briefly. We have first in the dark green, we have hand-marked paper ballots with ballot marking machines for accessibility. This is considered the best in that there's the least likelihood that a machine will be able to tamper with a ballot. And yeah, then we have in the medium green, we have hand-marked paper ballots with direct recording machines for accessibility with a voter-verified paper audit trail. So these machines don't print out a ballot, they instead print out a record of the votes, and they do the tallying of the votes themselves, of those votes themselves. Then in the light green, we have hand-marked paper ballots with direct recording machines, but those machines do not have that paper trail. So voters can't be sure that the voters who use those machines can't be sure that their votes were registered accurately. Then in yellow, we have ballot marking devices for all voters. Now, with ballot marking devices, again, some don't print out a human readable ballot. Some print out barcodes. So it's not necessarily the case that the voter can actually read through their ballot and verify that it's correct. Then in the orange, we have hybrid ballot marking devices and tabulator. So these ones, they are ballot marking devices, but then they also calculate and tally up the results of the votes cast on that machine rather than that being done by a separate machine. That has its own risk because it could be compromised either at the ballot casting or the tabulation part. Then in the light red, we have direct recording machines with voter verified paper audit trails for all voters. So, which means that if the machine flips your vote, yes, you can report that it flipped your vote, but you can't actually you can't then correct the vote by doing a paper ballot and then lastly, in the darker red, we have direct recording machines without the paper trail, which means those ones you have no way of knowing if your vote was put correctly, and and that applies to everyone in those areas. So, many states have some degree of use of ballot marking machines, and some ballot marking machines print out barcodes instead of human readable ballots, which runs into the issue of voters not being able to verify that their votes were placed correctly. Other states use direct recording machines that don't provide a paper trail, and so not only can voters not verify their results, but that election officials have to rely on the machines in order to get the vote counts. And here are the references used in this presentation. Thank you.